Good morning, everyone. It's Cassie. I hope you're having an awesome day. Welcome back to Frostpunk 2. We gotta start making haste for Winterhome. Let's see if we can... If the storm's cleared and we can start moving out. Not yet. Okay, I suppose we have to wait. I'm not excited about it, but we can. We're doing okay. Speaking of doing okay, we have made some improvements. We need some housing, as you can see, but we are working on food, we're working on materials, we are working on prefabs. Heat stamps look great, so we are inching our way back towards successful after a very, well, not very, but like relatively easy whiteout. So we've got that going for us too. We're researching something. We are researching melting deep deposits, which I thought we already had done. There's no tension. Crime is way down. Crime is absent, which is great also, because we put in some patrol towers. No good deed unpunished. Patrol watchtower. Steward, a guard watchtower is facing disciplinary action for abandoning his patrol to carry a sickly old woman to an infirmary. Knew something was off when I couldn't smell any oats cooking from Mrs. Weatherby's place. Went up to check and saw her completely crumpled. Sorry, I don't know why completely got in there. Crumpled on the floor, explained Sergeant Savalas. His commander was clearly displeased. That's all fine, but while Savalas was off playing medic, 2 robberies took place in the district. He is asking for Savalas' removal from the force, abandoning his post. What is your position? Patrols should provide help. Guards on patrol should dedicate some of their time to serving community needs. Guard squad's output is marginally decreased, tension is slightly increased, or patrols should focus on crime. Guards on patrol should stay solely focused on their main purpose, dealing with crime. Sergeant Savalas will be stripped of his rank. I'm keeping that man in his post. He did something great. We don't have tension, and I'm curious to see what happens with crime having done this. But, in my opinion, that was the right play. Why are we seeing, like, threats of protest in here? Evolvers. No, I'm not surprised. The Evolvers protest, rising tension. Steward, the Evolvers have taken to the streets in protest against the city's growing dependence on oil and the generator. We cannot stand by and let the Faith Keepers further bind us to a single point of failure. We kept silent as the whiteout endangered us all, but no more. They evidently feel they have no further recourse to make their dissent known. Infiltrating the most vital buildings in the district, they hold the production lines hostage. What should we do? They also dislike family apprenticeship, accept all outsiders, and machine-centric shifts. Repeal dutiful youth. If you go back to certain things, the Evolvers will cease their protests. Within 20 weeks, repeal dutiful youth. Research merit-based housing. If you let them have their way, Evolvers will cease their protests. Within 20 weeks, research merit-based housing. Convince them to stop. Promise to make it up to them some other way. Raise relations to neutral to stop their protests, or ignore for now. We'll deal with them later. Let's convince them to stop. Let's see if we can get them to neutral. Due to poor relations, the Evolvers have begun to protest. They seek to change the direction you're leading the city in. Production is halted in affected districts. For every 1,000 of their supporters, they will spread to another 1 over time. Okay, you can negotiate and end the disruptions or quell them with guards. It will be more difficult and more violent the higher the fervor of the protesters. Nullifying their fervor will also prevent them from blocking the district fully, as well as ultimately make the protest collapse on its own. I think we're pretty close to neutral with the Evolvers, so if we can just... They have no fervor. Negotiate to end protests. Promise to fulfill their demand. If you do, they will end their protest entirely. You can only negotiate with them once during a protest. Relations with this faction will increase when the promise is fulfilled. If you fail to fulfill the promise, they will refuse to negotiate again. Opposite faction will gain fervor if you keep your promise. That would be the Faith Keepers, these guys who are very happy with me. Counter-protest. The other faction will engage in a counter-protest, starting the collapse of the current disturbances. Protests will collapse one by one. Some counter-protesters might get hurt. Both protesting and counter-protesting faction will gain fervor. Oh, this again. Okay. Cool. So with the deep melting drills, what can I do? Well, nothing, because I can't build them. I don't have any cores. But it does unlock access to unlimited deposits. Cool. Oh, there's a thing happening that I didn't notice. Path to power for the city's safety. A lot's happening today. Jeez, oh man. Steward, I'm singular. The Evolver's protest has terrified many in the city. Many are calling for a response from the council. The captain limited the steward's powers, but he couldn't have foreseen this dissent. Maybe the time has come to increase our leader's authority for the safety of the city. Several proposals have been suggested that would help us deal with the protests. It's up to you to decide if we will place them on the agenda. Delegates will vote on charter laws based on their relations. Let's see what the council people suggest. Calls an immediate council session, or perhaps later. Charter laws can be proposed during any council session. Guided voting seems to be the one that's being suggested to me based on the fact that it was like blinking. But we also have guard enforcers that we can investigate, which unlocks the quell protest district ability, which ends protests using guard squads. Most people are against this. Oof, like the vast majority are against. And how do they feel about guided voting? Same. What else can we propose? We don't have a basic necessities rule. We don't have a food additives rule. But everything is filled up here so far, so I guess just those two are the ones that I really want to think about. Actually, let's think about basic necessities. Paid essentials. To foster responsibility and reward work, citizens will be charged a small fee in exchange for essentials such as basic rations and clothing. Production efficiency is slightly increased. Heat stamps income per capita is slightly increased, and this is supported by the Evolvers, so I think they'd be in favor. That might help with trust. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. We'll have to negotiate. The New Londoners want me to research fracturing pumpjack, grant an agenda for them, or construct deep melting drills. Deep melting drills I have, like, research, we just did that. I am interested in building them, but I don't have cores, so I can't. So I'll just go with, we'll grant them an agenda. That kicked us way up there, and we'll vote.
The proposed law has been approved.
Okay, cool. So now we just need to let them choose the next rule that we vote into session.
A law has passed in the council. Take heed.
I am looking... There we go. Whiteout incident. I don't know what that means, but it increased their relations with me, so cool. Whatever. Use Grant's agenda on New Londoners. How long do I have to do that? 38 weeks to make a promise to them. They want pass foraged additives, research hydraulic pump jack, research untreated sawmill. Foraged additives. Only natural foraged ingredients may be added to food. We will train people to forage for these in the Frostland. Some citizens will provide some food during calm weather. Hydraulic pump jacks, we already know. Untreated sawmill. Massive sawmill in which frozen wood is cut into usable materials without undergoing any treatment, speeding up the process but exposing people to mold spores and fungi. It's good for materials. Yeah, I'm going to cheat this and use an emergency session for foraged additives. I'm going to try this without even negotiating it, because most people are for, and these hesitant people are going to tip the scale, but probably in my favor. I might eat crow on that. We'll see. Cool.
Hear ye, hear ye. The eyes have it.
Quick coffee break. The Frostlanders are delighted you kept your word, blah blah blah.
People of the city, your council has voted.
Wow, the New Londoners really don't like me right now. Well, I guess they're skeptical. That's better than disliking me. Better than being hostile, like the Evolvers. Okay, can we get out now? Yes? We'll go for it. We'll see what happens. And how's everyone doing over here at the old Dreadnought? They need a food source, but they're doing very well on everything else. Can I build them? Whoops, that was the wrong button. No, I can't really build them anything. How much food do they have? They have 35,000 food, spending... it'll last 79 weeks. Okay. So I do need to think about a food source for them. What do I do with this? Nothing. Why is it that color? Deposit fully extracted. I don't know why it is that color. I'll have to figure it out. Evolvers take over high-rise housing district. Protests spread. Steward, the Evolvers' protests have spread to another district. Some of their most radical members use the opportunity to sack the local patrol watchtower. We never wanted this, screamed the angry crowd, and yet the steward had built it with our resources and our labor. Set on fire amidst cries of joy, the patrol watchtower soon collapsed. Patrol watchtowers suffered destruction during the Evolvers' protests. For every 1,000 supporters, they will spread to another district over time. Well, that's pretty rude. I'm gonna send in some counter-protesters and see what happens. I'm also gonna have to rebuild that watchtower, and that's a pain. That's 20 patrol troops. That's not even close to the right phrase. Guard squads.
If you're unsure whether foraged food additive is safe for consumption, consult your local scout office.
Oh my goodness. I used Grant Agenda on the wrong faction. That was silly. Let's try this again. I can't. There's no law available that they would like to propose. What a pain. There we go. Let's put that back. I don't think that's where it was, but that's where it's going. There goes my trust, by the way. Despised. Heat's looking good, though, and that'll help. I think we can build maybe some subsidized housing to fill in some of the blanks on these homeless. Okay. Cool. Now I just need to hang out and wait for the New Londoners to want to propose something. Maybe we can research some stuff while we're thinking about it. Biowaste hothouse I'm thinking about. Squalor up 40 or disease up 20. Positive plus 50 food or plus 75, or sorry, 70 food. Upkeep 400 workforce, 300 workforce. I'm going biowaste. I'm really trying with the Evolvers. I want to show them I mean business. I'm here to help. I'm trying to survive. Good golly, they want a lot of stuff. Warm at last. Heat abundance reached. Life inside the city is now warmer than New London has ever known. People walk the streets in disbelief. They can remove shawls, coats, layers of clothes that for so many years were necessary even in the best of conditions. Now they peel like old skin. It's warm. People look at each other as if in a dream and wonder whether it can possibly last. Trust rises slightly. Tension is slightly decreased. That's not gonna It's not going to last. In fact, it's going to drop again here in a couple weeks. But, you know, for now, that's pretty nice. The New Londoners have something they want now. Oh, it was that easy, huh? Grand Agenda didn't tell me that they wanted anything. Interesting. Oh, but that helped trust so much. Accepted. The Frostlanders and the Evolvers are, of course, still very much disliking me for the decisions that I've made so far, but we're working on it. They don't like that I used Emergency Council, even though I used it to help them. That's pretty petty. We put a patrol tower back, and we had 42 guard squads before we did, and now we only have 34. So that's kind of wild. What was that? Oh. I'm thinking about what kinds of things. We have some more districts we could put down. So I'm thinking about what we could do with those. But they will affect the need for heat. And this is a good number. I like this number. Dewey Evans, 52, shopkeeper, bandaging his fists. I wanted to read banging. The steward called on us. There was a time when I thought we could all get along, but then they threatened the city, our city, and that's what I saw them for what they were, firebrands and criminals. The steward called on us, and we heeded the call. If not for us Faithkeepers, who will stop these filthy evolvers? Oh boy. Following the Faithkeepers' counter-protest against the evolvers, both factions radicalize. Yeah. I knew that was coming. Give me that. What can I do? They don't like that I favor equality. That's a big oof. No one likes that I used Emergency Council. Okay, that'll wear off. And let that be a lesson for me. Don't use that. Well, look at my trust. It's shot way back up. Accepted. That's better than despised. We're almost unlocking the next step on this. Colonizing Winterhome. Vote on New Londoners' proposal scheduled. Council to vote on mass-produced goods in 2 weeks. Okay. I mean, I knew they had to vote for something, right? This is just about done. Let's go have a look. Okay, so we have weather station. This outpost once predicted the temperature drops for Winterhome. The peak is visible for miles around, the ideal place for a beacon to help travelers reach New London, increases population growth. We also have Winterhome Bridge, remains of the old bridge leading to Winterhome. An ominous sign hangs from the nearest side. Only death lies beyond. Whether it was left by would-be jokers or superstitious scouts is unclear. Okay, so obviously we're doing this one. And then that leads us into the Cursed Valley. Alright, so this can give us population, this can give us population. There is no final design. Change a policy to another one, and then pass the previous one once, and it cut off there. That was the achievement I got. Sorta. We have coal. Coal, materials, population, coal, population, prefabs.
Steward.
Cutthroat economy, paid essentials. Steward, now that we are charging for essentials, some unemployed families are unable to afford basic necessities. Work goes to the worthiest. If these people were passed up, it's their own damn fault. They should put in the work instead of expecting the city to solve their problems, claimed one Evolver's delegate. Others are more measured and say we could provide them with a weekly allowance. If we can't offer them work, we will give them a budget. Up to them to use it wisely. What should we do? Allocate an allowance to those in need. Up to them to use it responsibly. Paid essentials provides less heat stamps income. Or let them fend for themselves. Handouts make people helpless. Paid essentials remains unchanged. I'm helping.
Attention, citizens! A new law is in effect.
What new law was that? I do still need 6 houses, too. Can I build another housing block in a residential area? No, it seems to only want to let me build them in my other districts. I think I wouldn't mind putting one in a logistics district, but I want to save the building slots in like my food districts and my industrial and extraction districts. So I'm going to hold off on that. But also, what else can I build? Hothouses. Good, that is what I want. We'll start with 1 and see how that goes. I think I'm going to have to start sending food to the old dreadnought unless I find another source of it somewhere. So I want to make sure I'm making enough. Ooh, look at that heat production. She's way over budget. I love it. I like that they feel warm and they're like taking off their jackets. I'm sure the Evolvers hate that, but I like it. Okay, that is good for food. We'll build up a surplus for them. And do we have... Is there a place we can put one of those here? I don't think so, but I'm gonna check. No. Okay, so we will need to be thinking about food for them. Their stockpile's about 10k lower than it was when last I looked. Oh, why are they transferring food to... That doesn't work for me. There. I should check in on that more often. They have housing, they have food, they have materials stockpiled. They don't have goods. No one has goods, really. And I want to work on that. But I'm also not really trying, if I'm honest.
Do not waste time on repairs. A new model is safer than a repurposed one.
If you say so. Can I build any other hothouses? Well, that's the wrong. Oh yeah, I can build a couple more. Nothing lost. Biowaste hothouse. Steward, our biowaste hothouse has begun cooperating with people who forage for food additives in the Frostland. On top of their regular duties, they provide it with leaves, animal carcasses, and feces, with an A, in order to enrich its compost. This will no doubt increase our food output. Biowaste hothouse produces more food thanks to foraged additives. Cool. We'll get food stores back up, and that's exciting. Oof. Oof, I say. I don't believe I have anything sending population to us. Let's take a look. This should be turned off. This is not. We haven't set up this. So I don't really know how we're... I still don't know what this means. I'm really hesitant to say this, but I think we've pulled this game out of the rubble. This was roughly the point at the last game that, or in our last save, that we hit the wall and got evicted, exiled. But trust is way up. Everyone's doing pretty well. They don't totally hate us. Except the Evolvers, they kind of hate us. We're working on it. We're trying to find the right balance. Food looks great. Materials we need to work on here in particular. Expeditions are going well. Research. Okay. Salvaging factory. Oh boy. Large factory using the discarded prefabs and goods, no matter how soiled, to manufacture new ones with minimal resources. Or mechanical factory. Large facility using semi-automated machinery to produce construction prefabs and domestic goods with a streamlined workforce. We do need goods. It will help. Okay, 10 per week. Prefabs, 40 per week goods. Same. Disease up 20 heat requirement. Squalor up 40 heat requirement. Upkeep 60 materials, 300 workforce. 40 materials, 400 workforce. I hate to say it, but I'm going with the Evolvers on this one. But this will start the generation of goods, and goods are fantastic for morale.
Steward.
I don't know why it's doing that. I don't even know if you can see that. I haven't been watching my camera. Heat stamps. Evolvers suggest action. Steward, we're struggling with heat stamps. A group of Evolvers have come forward with an idea on how to solve it. We should pass durable goods. Let us pursue it and the city will benefit. The Evolvers look with distrust at what other communities propose. They would surely appreciate you getting behind their idea. The Evolvers want to pass durable goods to solve problems with heat stamps. Investigate the solution. If they have a way to solve heat stamps, it warrants our attention. Promise Evolvers that you'll pass durable goods within 60 weeks. Pass durable goods. Marginally improves relations with Evolvers, or disregard the issue and relations slightly worsen with Evolvers. Yeah, I don't think you can see what I'm seeing. Oh, I see. This is going to be bad for us because we've already passed mass-produced goods, and now we have to pass durable goods. But most people are for durable goods, so that's something. I'm going to try this without negotiating and see what happens. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, it hung. Oh, ooh, goodness.
The eyes have it!
The Evolvers are delighted, blah, blah, blah. I've read this a million times now.
People of the city, your council has voted.
I'm not quite connecting the dots as to how passing durable goods improves heat stamp generation, but, you know, if they say so, whatever, I don't care. Prefabs look great. So I think I can switch now for a while to producing goods. I'm going to have to create another industrial district once we are finished researching this down here. Factories, because I have filled up this particular industrial district with coal liquefactors. How's everyone doing? The New Londoners are still mad at me for using emergency council, so I guess everyone will be. The Faith Keepers don't want to give me... There we go. Whatever I did during the whiteout has made some factions very happy and some very unhappy. Cool. Oh boy. The Frostlanders are just overall displeased with me. That's tough. We are still making our way to Winterhome. We are getting there. We have another thing. Faction rally. Bursting with support, the streets fill with Faith Keepers as they praise your name and call upon the rest of the city to rise for you as well. Faith Keepers have begun rallying in support of you and the direction you've led the city. Their devotion attracts more followers, and the rallies grow in size and enthusiasm. How should they help the city? Contribute more workforce, heat stamps, organize baptisms, or say nothing. We don't need we don't need workforce. We have tons of unemployed right now. Contribute heat stamps, that's a good one. That's where we went most of the time last time. Organize baptisms, let the Faith Keepers call forth the pious for baptisms. That seemed to increase tension a little bit. There were some people who took the baptisms just so that people would leave them alone because they were being harassed, and that was super unpleasant for them. Trust rises. We'll go with heat stamps. The Faith Keepers will spread their rally around as much as they can.
To wasteful fashion. A well-made coat is always in style.
So we may have the opportunity to take baptisms in a different place. 244 injured during exploration. That's a big bunch. We did open some stuff up. We have Dreadnought Husk, the Curse of Winterhome. An ancient, empty dreadnought hull towers over the flat snow. Our scouts met some people living in shelters on the leeward sides who claimed the mighty machine was stripped clean long before they arrived. The people have asked us to take them to New London, if only so they can be further away from the ruins of Winterhome. Everyone who goes there comes back with a cough that only worsens, one of the camp leaders say. Stay away. This brings back population. We also have the one we need to do, Ruins of Winterhome. Winterhome has a cursed history. A series of corrupt leaders pushed the city's generator beyond its limits. At last, a competent captain took charge, but by then, that was us. The generator had been permanently damaged and doomed to explode. The city's people had no choice but to gather all they could to a nearby dreadnought and take their chances in the Frostland. Rumor has it that the ruins still hold valuable resources, but our scouts avoid the site, fearing toxic gases leaking from fissures in the ground and ghosts that wail through the night. We do have to explore it. The time has come to make use of the cursed city. We will need to connect a trail and send colonists. I'm going to reach as far as I can with each of these. Ooh, this is expensive. Alright. That's going to take some time. And then we'll have yet another colony, very like the old dreadnought, to worry about. In New London, we have a pretty significant surplus of food, but not housing. So I'm hoping to send a bunch of these people to Winterhome. They're not going to like that, I'll tell ya. I can also send a few people, not so many, over to the old dreadnought because they have housing, they have a little bit of extra food, goods we need to worry about. But we need to worry about goods in general, so I'm not going to send any over yet. I don't actually think I can send any over from New London because I don't have any. And I believe, yep, I can set up for more prefabs here if I want to. I will wait. I will wait. Oh, the cold weather is about to move in. And I want to see what impact that has on the heat. Oh, I didn't look to see how our heat's doing at the old dreadnought. It's been very neutral. It stayed neutral. Okay.
Bundle up. It's getting colder.
This is what I expected to happen. It's not so bad, not as bad as it's been in the past, but it's not great. Especially with 60 in need of shelter. Or rather, 60 shelters needed. We're almost done researching factories. I kind of think the factories should like put off heat, right? Instead of needing heat. I don't know if you caught that, but the evolvers liked that we researched the factories that we did. And they like us a little more now. Slightly increased by being assigned to research recently. Okay, so those need to go into an industrial district. Industrial districts do require heat. Only 20 though, and that's not so bad. Could be worse, I suppose. I'm gonna have to frost break some space out for this. Okay. Winterhome ruins. Scouts report the valley is filled with toxic miasma seeping from the chasms in the ground, seemingly made by a huge explosion. In an effort to make the site more hospitable, we could force an avalanche down the valley, covering some of the fissures, but we would bury the technological roots of the city forever. If we want to access the foundations of the destroyed generator and salvage the cores within, we have to demolish the last of the ruins and crack the ground open even more. Once our colonists survive, we will have to choose. Once our colonists arrive, we will have to choose. This is an extremely dangerous place. We better come prepared. We can establish a colony here, gains access to materials, food, prefabs, coal, cores, whatever this is, geothermal, and prefabs. Requires 1 core, which I do not have. So cool, that's fun. I am launching an expedition into the mountains because you can see here possible findings include cores.
Neighbors kindly ask, rally attendees to keep all applause to a reasonable volume.
108 recently beaten and mugged. Crime is notable, but stable. Increased by goods scarcity, which is what we're working on now. Extremely increased by population size. I pushed that together with the line under it. Thankfully, we are working on goods right now. We're making goods in this industrial district. We will be making goods in this industrial district, and we're going to put a factory on that one, and that factory will also make goods. We're getting a little low on materials here, though. And we have more cold looming on the horizon. It's going to get just a tiny bit colder than it already is. Do I have a new building? Oh yeah, the factories. Time to rest? ? Community service. Steward, more and more citizens are contesting the community service law we have in place. Why must the whole city help extract resources? The city has survived. We're no longer in dire need of materials. Must we keep toiling endlessly? Said a tired young man after finishing his shift. It is true we are in no immediate danger, nor do we have any pressing needs. Maybe we should consider doing away with community service altogether. The no community service law is now available in the council. I see. That's great, but well, it seems like people really want that. Let's see how much they want it. We have expedition support, heat pipe watch, service exemptions, and no community service. No community service, trust rises greatly, but like there's no faction backing this. It seems like most people want service exemptions or expedition support. I'm on the fence, so I'll think about it later. I don't have a quest or a mission to pass that law, so we'll hold on. let's see if we can... We can't. We need heat stamps if we want to build a factory. Trust looks good. I'm watching it closely. Everyone's over the fact that I used emergency counsel. But some people did die, so they're a little discontent about that, and that I get. We are 37% explored into the mountains. We'll need lots of time left on that. What do I do with this? I'll have to look it up. Everyone's looking great at here. At here, really? I know what I'm saying. I'm sending some people here to see if we can, like, fill this in. Get this closer to neutral. You can tell it's time to end soon because I am no longer articulate. Trying to put people in houses. We'll see if I go over by accident. "265 murdered by violent criminals." Oh. We can send still more people here. We'll have to think about food if we do, but... let's... Okay, we'll see how that does.
The Faith Keepers urge citizens to consider at all times what would the captain do.
That's not me. I'm not the captain. I'm the steward. Where'd my cursor go? These are an indication of how I'm doing on progress. You can see I'm not very far into the progress bar, or the adaptation bar. And that's why the evolvers don't like me very much. Abel Smith, 51, beggar, holding a bowl of soup. Food. Hot food in exchange for nothing. They could have just ignored me, discarded me. I would have understood. Instead, they fed me, clothed me, smiled at me like I'm a person. I never thought I'd see the day when my city would provide for someone like me, someone who can only take. One day I'll thank them proper. I'll give back. The city has made steps toward the equality cornerstone. Aw. That warms my heart. I have a feeling it's going to be real bad. This game doesn't give with both hands. If it's giving with one hand, it's taking with another. So this person over here who's having a really good day is probably going to be balanced out by this person over here, you know, who's died a horrible death because they spent the heat stamps we allocated to them on the wrong things. I can't build factories yet because I am still waiting for a little bit of heat stamps. Kind of a double-edged sword because when I build the factory, I will have more heat stamps. Merit is not so good either. And reason is not good at all. Am I not doing anything reasonable? I would like to think that I am. Look how well we're doing. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're only doing well because I'm doing everything in the craziest possible way. Who knows? What is this? Just bad pixels. That's cool. Just a whole district blocked. Thanks, game. You're doing weird. Okay, that fixed it. Okay, since food looks so good, I'm gonna hold off for a while on...
Please be aware, funeral processions always have the right of way.
On generating more food. How are we doing on food at the old Dreadnought? We were doing pretty well last I looked, right? Plus 21. Okay. Housing is square. I am gonna stop sending population to here. Prefabs look great still. Heat stamps need help. How many heat stamps do I still need in order to build a factory? None. I've got them. We'll see what this factory does for goods. And then we'll call it a day. Because it's going to be about that time. We are still doing really well on coal. And we are turning the coal to oil, so we're still very neutral on oil, which is good. It'd be nice to have a stockpile. Oh boy, no! Shortage of space. Subsidized housing block. Steward, our subsidized housing blocks are a resounding success, but the current shortage of shelter has led to lengthy waiting lists. People grow anxious and frustrated. Large families must get a priority. Where am I supposed to house my 5 children? Complained a desperate father. We should not let emotions get the best of us, warns an infrastructure analyst. We'll devise a formula. Factor in the size of the family, how essential they are to the city's functioning, optimize their commute time. We need to be optimal, especially in times of crisis. What should we do? Prioritize families. Families are the lifeblood of society. We owe them the best housing. Population growth is marginally increased. Relations improve with faith keepers. Allocate rationally. We need to think dispassionately and do what is best for the good of the city. Relations improve with evolvers, percentage of active workers is slightly increased, or keep the status quo. There's nothing inherently wrong with waiting lists. Relations marginally worsen with evolvers and faith keepers. I'm choosing allocate rationally. Alright, and adding that factory has improved the number of goods we have, but we're still not meeting our need for goods. I'm going to... Can I expand this out? I think I need to frost break. I also need heat stamps. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. But that's, I guess, all of the heat stamps that I had. So that sucks. I'm in a tight spot on that regard, in that regard. And I know I said I would end immediately after we checked in on this, but I'm not ready to quit yet. We just opened up the gorge, and now I want to see if we can get some cores. Crashed dirigible, the old Empire. An opulent passenger vessel lies under the snow, barely visible. The charts inside indicate it left London, was heading for a site in the Ashtop Mountains when the Great Storm struck. There seem to be many more bodies in the vessel than the vessel was designed to carry. It will be grim work to dig around the bodies, but we can salvage cores from the wreck. Salvage the wreck gives us 3 cores, or come back later. What's the other option? Familiar herd. The same reindeer herd has provided us food at various occasions over the last few decades. It seems the herd's numbers have increased. We can safely send out hunters. An outpost here could increase our food supply by 90 food until its deposit of 60,000 food is depleted. I want to start with the cores. But then, if I've got enough Frostland teams, and it looks like I do, I also want to set up goods or food. We'll send them to the old Dreadnought. Because they need food more than New London needs food right now. And we have this.
Steward.
Evolvers begin protesting. Again? Steward, the Evolvers have decided to protest your rule. The city is changing, and for the worst. We present this list of demands. Tend to them and we will disperse, said one of the leaders. But if you refuse to change course on those, let us strive to create a society of strong individuals to manage the unproductive. The city will keep protesting until you respect their demand. They will keep protesting, not the city, until you respect their demand, further their vision of the city, or force them to disperse. Except, is repealed dutiful youth, demolish one subsidized housing block. What? No. Further their vision, research merit-based housing, research unproductive do maintenance. Workers who do not meet their quotas must stay after their ships to perform machinery and infrastructure maintenance. Convince them to stop is raise relations to neutral, or ignore for now, we'll deal with them later. Mixed signals. Have rallies and protests in the city at the same time. Yeah. Housing is bad. Yeah, I need to do something about that. It seems like I cannot stay on top of it no matter what I do. Oh, heat's also real bad. The Evolvers still have 1 fervor, but the Faith Keepers no longer have fervor. If I counter-protest, then the Evolvers will have 2, and the Faith Keepers will have 1, and that seems also bad. But we did get those cores, so I can also open up Winterhome and then end for the day. Descending into the valley of Winterhome will be very challenging. We will need to divert resources, manpower, and attention from New London. Are you certain you wish to confront this challenge now? It seems we're ready to meet them. Yep. Send colonists. Steward, a radical group of Faith Keepers has come forward with a proposition. They suggest ensuring the leading members of the Evolvers end up included in the colonists group that will set out for Winterhome. The Evolvers have been the source of discord in New London, one member of the Faith Keepers says. That's true. Make sure the most fervent among them join the main group of Winterhome colonists. With them gone, New London will be free from protests. What should we do? Recruit colonists equally from all communities. We will send everyone to work regardless of affiliation. Colonists will settle Winterhome. Make sure to include Evolvers. We will make sure to pick instigators from the Evolvers in addition to everyone else. All disturbances in New London will cease. Relations greatly improve with Faith Keepers, or decide later. You know what? Be gone, Evolvers. I'll deal with you over there instead of over here. Winterhome ruins, which we are currently doing. Great. And here's where we will end for the day. I'm pretty pleased with how this is going, although our trust is fluctuating like crazy.
Are disrupting the city's normal functioning. Please be patient until they are resolved.
This one's resolving, and you can tell that by the fact that the red is draining out of this flag. They will be on their way to Winterhome, and we'll have to deal with them over there and see what's next. But thank you for hanging out with me today. This is fun. I'm still having fun with this game. I'm glad we've pulled it out of the rubble. I think we've pulled it out of the rubble, but also heat. Like, suddenly we're in dire need of heat for some reason, and I don't know what's going on. We also need a million bajillion houses. But food looks good. Materials are okay, holding in. Goods are a little better than they were, but still bad. So we're going to work on those things. That helped trust and heat quite a lot. What was that they were doing? Were they in my industrial district? I don't know. They may have been. Anyway, here's where we're going to call it a day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I cannot wait until we jump into this again next Monday and we kind of see what's going on with Winterhome. Now, we have to situate Winterhome so that we can get a steady stream of cores coming in so that we can further our civilizations here and now in those two small communities that we've created. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will talk to you very soon.